they want to put you in that box of like, this is what your genre is. And I just find myself breaking out of that so often. So she's communicating quite well, that little expression in her vocals. And I think that's, for me, like, I like to play with communicating emotions through my vocals as well. I can sing it to you.
You've had
um,
no idea how many times I've been sung to on this podcast.
it's from the Grease movie. I've got chills.
You're the one that I want.
That's the
Yeah.
song.
There was two fellas having a punch up, right, down the front. And she stopped it. She stopped everyone. She was like, stop, stop, everybody stop
Ah,
playing. Like, used to, hug it out. And I'm not playing, we're not carrying on until you've had a hug. Hello and welcome to the Mixtape podcast. My name's Mark and I am your host. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. Every week on the show, I ask my guests to make up an imaginary mixtape and pick 6 tracks for it. I've had some incredible chats. They're already there in the archives, just waiting for you to stumble across them. I've had chats with Steve Kilby from The Church, Rowetta from the Happy Mondays, Rick from Ash. I've had Al Anderson, one of the original Wailers. I've had Clint Boone from Your Spiral Carpets. I've had Donita Sparks from L7. I've had Scott Kirkland from The Crystal Method. There's lots and lots of episodes sitting there waiting for you to discover. If you enjoy this week's episode, please feel free to rate it 5 stars on Spotify and or jump up to the top of the page and hit that old follow or subscribe button, and you'll be notified every time there is a new episode. Catch up with everything I'm doing by going to www.themixtapepodcast.com. That's enough of the intro. I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hello and welcome to another Mixtape show. Joining me today is Beth Chia. How are you, Beth?
hey, yeah, I'm pretty good.
Let's talk about I played your new single on the show this week, Sins and Scars. Tell us a little bit about that, mate, and you know where you draw your inspiration from. And
Yeah, sure. So Sins and Scars in particular, it's a love song that I wrote, and it's a love song that's written from, I guess, it's written from my perspective of being in a relationship with someone who has seen all the sides to you there is to see, the good and the bad, and someone who can see all of that and accept you completely, even though you can't always fully accept yourself because maybe you don't like those aspects of yourself.
Mhm.
That to me is the ultimate like show of love. So it was a love song to my husband, and yeah, it was a song that it started as a poem and they were my wedding vows, and then I turned it into a song afterwards. Yeah.
Gig-wise, Beth, you got quite a bit coming up. First of all, you snagged a support slot with Ash Grunwald in Manjimup.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. How are you feeling about that? You must be buzzing.
Oh yeah, when I got the news I was like, wow, that's got to be a mistake. And it was actually.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Oh no,
And
right.
it's what we call a happy mistake. And
Accident. Yeah.
so we're not like, good friends or anything, but who knows? Maybe we will be. But Gatsby's, the owner of Gatsby's, and I had been chatting for a bit, and it just happened that Ash was really keen to book a date that I'd kind of already been booked in for. And then Greg said, well, how about, are you interested in supporting? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's probably more that he's supporting me, but I don't know how much support I can give this guy, but I'll do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of Ash Grunwald. I've tried twice to get him on the podcast, and I've not had any joy. So, mate, if you can put in a word, that'd be awesome. Cheers for that. Don't think it's not him personally. I don't think
Oh,
it's
he's a busy guy.
his PR and people who've said no so far. But yeah, both times they've said like sorry, like he's super busy, blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
But that album he did with Josh Teskey, I think it's one of my favourite albums of the last 2 or 3 years. Incredible album. I really, really enjoyed that, and I'm a big fan of Ash Grunwald. So I don't know why I missed him last time he's in Perth. He played in Guildford somewhere. Missed
Okay.
it. It's only up the road from me, and I missed it. I don't know why. I think I might have been at work. Sometimes I work away in Darwin. I might have been out of town. But yeah, Devo. But I'm going to definitely try and catch him next time round. Manjimup's a bit far for me to drive, but I'll try and catch him in one of those Perth dates for sure. And other dates you got booked, Beth. The week after that, it's the 23rd of February. the cidery in Bridgetown, and you've got a Mother's Day gig on the 12th of May, Sunday the 12th of May at the River in Margaret River. Tell us a little bit of that one, mate, because it's not your sort of ordinary gig. It's a bit of a special one.
No, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. So, because it's Mother's Day, and I know a few creative mums in that area as well, so they're locals down there. The idea is that we're coming together to showcase women in music and art, and also start to, just have a little bit of an open maybe discussion, or have like a platform to be able to present those women's issues, or the things that, we sort of face day to day in our motherhood, or things that might, like pregnancy things, or it might be to do with empowerment or something. So having a gig that's sort of based around women's issues and empowerment and motherhood and all of those things, but letting that be a part of a Mother's Day kind of celebration just feels a bit more nourishing than kind of like, oh yeah, we'll take her out for brunch, and like it's kind of like it's done. Whereas this is like, kind of feels like, well, if you're going to have a Mother's Day, why not celebrate it and really celebrate what it is, what we feel when we're mums, or like start to hear some other people's perspectives on different issues as a female and things like that. So a couple of the mums that are coming, they have different backgrounds. They're both single mums. They're both creatives. One of them is a spoken word poet, and I think she's written one book. And she's also done quite a lot of beautiful pottery. She's really creative with her hands. And then the other is also a visual artist, but she's also starting to venture through poetry and music as well. And then there'll be me, and I'll be there doing some of my music, and a little bit of visual art will follow that as well. But I like to sort of bring, so we sort of touched on my process for writing songs, and all of the songs that I've written so far are true. And I suppose my process is that I draw on my experiences, and a lot of the time it is obviously my experience as being female and the different things that I've experienced as that. Then I'll use that as my inspiration for my poems, and it's usually the words will come first, and then usually the tune will follow. Not always, but that's kind of where my inspiration comes from. Just dealing with stuff in life.
One of my very first interviews was on International Women's Day last year, and I interviewed Delilah Rose. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Delilah Rose, and she had a new album out, and a lot of the themes on that album were around motherhood and having kids, and the transition between not being a mum and then being a mum, and the different perspectives. And fantastic album. It's called Moxie. It's well worth looking up if you get a chance. After this, I'll send you some links. Yeah, she's that, your event there, that would be right up her alley. She would be mad keen to be involved in that. Unfortunately, she's moved to the Gold Coast, I think now, or Queensland. She used to be Perth based, but but I'll send you some links, because Delilah Rose, she's an incredible artist. And just finally, to round out the gigs, you got one a little bit further down the line, the 1st of June, Clancy's in Freo, is it?
Yeah, yep. I'll be doing Clancy's in Freo with a couple of other bands. So there'll be, I don't even think these guys have a name yet, but so some young kids are coming, Jai and Bailey, and I think they're sort of Margaret River-ish based, or a back and forth. And then also Blackwood Rising, who I'm doing the gig at Mojo's this weekend with in Freo. Okay. They're quite in this area, they're quite known for their stuff, and they've done a few gigs in Perth already, I think, doing like a Black Keys sort of a tribute vibe. And then it'll be me with my band playing a bunch of similar genre, but it's also really like, I find a lot of people try and like they want to put you in that box of like, this is what your genre is, and I just find myself breaking out of that so often. So I still how to describe my music, because one song will be like this and another song is way different. So when the album, or when the EP is eventually finished, it's going to be a little bit of a journey, I think, because there's not really one particular sound, but there's obviously my voice and my words coming through just in varying flavors throughout that whole EP. So that's kind of like, they're some people find them a bit folky at times, and times they're more grungy at times, and other times they're just, yeah, a bit more experimental or a combination of all of that. But I like to not be restricted into any sort of, yeah, category if I can.
They're the best. They're always the best artists for me. The ones you can't, they're folk, they're blues, they're just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like it's easy if you're trying to turn someone on to someone new. It's an easy tool to, you know, give them the right sort of ballpark. But
Yeah, yeah,
I hate putting people in the, oh, he's blues, he's rock, he's jazz, and
yeah, sure,
it's just
yeah.
good music's good music, and that's it. That's all you need to know. Just very quickly, how can people connect with you, Beth? What's the best way? Is it through your website
I
or the
suppose
socials?
probably just on social media. To be honest, my phone number's all over the internet because I've had a business for a time.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I get multiple scammers every day, and that's my life. So
yeah,
my phone number will be probably in my social page, but also obviously there's my like the chat message thing, and then
yeah,
like through the website there'd be options as well. But
yeah.
very,
Okay.
I find, but probably through social media is the quickest way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's bethchiamusic.com is the website. And then again, what I'll do is I'll put links in the description if you're listening on the podcast, to all of the social media pages and everything else. If you've got Bandcamp or anything like that, I'll throw all those links in the description of the podcast so people who are listening can just drop out and connect with you that way. Okay, I apologize for sending you through the mixtape tracks like literally 15 minutes before we started. Normally, like I said, I'm a lot more organised than that. What I like people to do when they come on the show is obviously called the mixtape, as you can see,
Hmm.
and I like to get people to make up an imaginary mixtape, just sort of it's a fun sort of framework to get into, like, what people listen to, and what I'm always interested in, what musicians listen, what they listen to themselves, and what your influences are. So to kick off your mixtape, Beth, if you were picking a track that's like going to really kick it off in fine style and be an attention grabber, what song would you pick for that?
Oh, an attention grabber. I don't know if it'll be an attention grabber or a reason to turn it off, but I would have to say I gravitated to a song on, I think it's the first Sonic Youth album, or was it called Confusion is Sex? And
Hmm.
they had a called She's in a Bad Mood. And I suppose if you're going to kick off a mixtape with Beth Chia, which my guitarist would be like, yep, yep. Um, it's not because I'm always in a bad mood, but he calls me Beth the Vampire. So it sort of
Okay.
sets in for for the type of moody, whatever it is, genre that you want to
Hmm.
place me. And it's quite experimental. So I suppose if we start there, then things can only get hopefully more familiar with the listener.
Haven't got much of that really, really early stuff. But yeah, I'll definitely check that one out. And as I mentioned earlier, there'll be a link in the description of the podcast to your playlist.
Yeah.
And on the radio show, I'll be dropping the tracks in between the chat. It's a much better, like when you're talking about songs and then you just move on to the next track, it's like, it's frustrating because when you can hear the song straight away after we've been talking about it, it gives it much more context and it's a much better,
Yeah.
listening sort of experience. Okay, and track two, Beth, is a song that you sing when you're on your own, loud and proud in the car or the shower. What's your go-to car song?
It's I don't yeah, I like belting out the Alanis Morissette. You ought to know.
I know.
I don't know if that's like a song I wouldn't really find myself listening to it, but I just like to sing it. I think it's because it's one of those like she's she's kind of upset, right? She's kind of angry. He's left
She's
her for
more than a little bit upset, I'd say. Yeah, yeah.
and so I think that's fun to play with that type of. I mean, she's communicating quite well that little bit of aggression in her vocals, and I think that's for me. Like I like to play with communicating emotions through my vocals as well. And if there's something that's slightly uncomfortable, I'm kind of willing to give it a try. In fact, and I think maybe that's why I chose the Sonic Youth song as well. It's fairly uncomfortable to listen to, but it's definitely something you will never forget once you hear it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Have you heard the hidden track at the end of Jagged Little Pill, the a cappella track?
Uh,
It sort of like gives that song a bit more sort of context. So you sort of it's called Your House, and she's just singing a cappella. It sort of goes, I went to your house, like he's not there, and she's walking around the house and she's finding I'm trying. I haven't heard it for donkey's years. I'll send you a link to that as well. But she finds out through walking around this guy's house, she finds out that he's been cheating, basically, and that's
Uh,
what kind of like
right.
inspires,
Yeah.
the song and a lot of the songs on the album. But it's a hidden track at the end of the CD. So it's like that's a lost art as well now with the well, not
Yeah.
declining physical media, but the hidden track is like that's a podcast on its own. That the hidden track, there's so many good ones. Famously on Nevermind, there's one at the end of Nevermind, and yeah, when you get that like the last song's like 15 minutes long, and you get like 3 or 4 minutes of just silence, and then the
Mm.
song kicks in again. Yeah, I love that on a CD, and yeah, like, it's sort of a dying art now. You don't really get so many with
Mm.
Spotify. It just doesn't happen, does it? It's just not the same. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great track, and she sings it beautifully. Like it's just a cappella. There's no
Cool.
music on it at all. I'll send you a link, and yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy that. Okay, track three, Beth, is your favourite cover version. What would you pick for that?
My favorite cover version, like a song that I'll play as a cover and that I
A
like.
cover version that someone's done of someone else's song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I quite like the Angus and Julia Stone version of, oh my God, the song's completely gone from my mind now. I can sing it to you.
You've have
Um,
no idea how many times I've been sung to on this podcast.
really?
Honestly, yeah, it happens all the time. Steve Kilby was singing to me. Yeah, loads of people have sung to me on here. Yeah, it's great. I'm going to put a little reel together of everyone singing to me. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be such good content. I can't wait. Just having the time to do it.
It's from the Grease movie. I've got chills.
You're the one that I want.
That's the
Yeah,
song.
yeah, 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 yeah,
But she does it in the minor key
yeah,
and makes, and with her vocals and everything, it just makes it all the more chilling when you listen
yeah.
to it actually. And it's so different, but when a cover is different but like a little bit better than the original, it's kind of like that's the that's the goal. Like that's my dream, really. Yeah.
For an Australian to cover an icon of Olivia Newton-John sort of stature, like it's going to have to be good, I think. And she does a fantastic job vocally on that. Like, I love Angus and Julia Stone, like separately, solo, together. I think they might have been the first gig I saw, or one of the very first gigs I saw when I came to Australia in
Okay.
2010. I think Big Jet Plane was out at the time. Down the
Yeah.
way was out, and yeah, I saw him in Frio, and it was brilliant. It was so good. There was two fellas having a punch up, right? Down the front. And she stopped it. She stopped everyone. She was like, "Stop, stop, everybody, stop playing. Like, used to hug it out." And I'm not playing. We're not carrying on until you've had a hug. Yeah, it was brilliant. So these two fellas who've been punching on had to hug each other because everyone was like, waiting. It was so good. Yeah, she was brilliant. Yeah, so funny. Greece and that's my generation. That I was 5 or 6 years old, probably. Maybe 7 or 8 when Greece came out. So yeah, that's the sound of my. No, I had that soundtrack on vinyl as well, so I'm very familiar with that movie and that soundtrack. Great song. Okie dokie. Track four, and this one's normally the one that takes a fair bit of thinking time. Is pick a song that you wish you could have played to your 18-year-old self.
I was actually pondering on this, and I don't actually think there's a song that I wished I could have played to my 18-year-old self. I think my 18-year-old self heard all the songs I needed to hear, to be honest. Unless there's a song that I've yet to hear that I would go, oh, yes, I should have
Yeah.
learned. I feel like all of the songs I listened to as an 18-year-old have kind of led me to this point, and I'm kind of like the butterfly effect. If I changed that, how that played out, I wonder where I would be now. Because a
Yeah.
lot of the songs I was listening to were probably kind of a bit heavier and a bit darker, but it was kind of that just needing to go in and explore those parts of the psyche, and then come, and then you can come to that place where maybe you're, I don't know, here, like it's kind of like that movement up. But I don't really know I think even if I heard the songs that I'm telling myself I should have heard, I was probably so stubborn I wasn't going to listen to them anyway. So I feel like that genre of whatever it was, like a mix of, punk and rock and a little bit of blues and some hardcore and some just weird stuff like that Confusion is Sex album by Sonic Youth. All of those things contributed to me, I think, realizing that there was a box that I was constantly placed in and I didn't have to be in that box if I didn't want to be. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, awesome. That's all good. That's all good. And that's fine. That's fine. And track 5, Beth, is if you were trying to woo someone with your mixtape, let them know that you're romantically interested in them, what song would you put on to let the listener know that you were keen?
Now, this one I may need some more time.
Was there like a song that you sort of, maybe, sent to your husband, when you first met, or, anything like that you used, or maybe worked on you that he did for you?
I mean, we sent each other songs, but they were not romantic at all. He made me a CD, because that's what it was
Mhm.
then, of a band called Sex Positions, but they were like a hardcore band with a little bit of electronica in there,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
lyrics had nothing to do with sex,
yeah.
from what I remember. They were a really cool band, and that happened to be their name. Whether he was
Right, okay.
suggesting that, I'm not sure, but
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a romantic song. That it just if the song made you feel like that, or made someone
uh,
feel like that about you, then that's good enough. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be,
yeah.
a soppy love song. It can be, yeah. Sex Positions is fine. Yeah, get them on there, no problem. Yeah, yeah.
One he sent me, and they're pretty good actually. Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
okay. I'll look them up. And speaking of stuff I've never heard of, track 6 was specifically put in the mixtape so that people like yourself could introduce people like me to stuff they've not heard before. So track 6, Beth, is pick something that's a little bit left field, a little bit obscure, maybe a B-side or an album track, or something that you think maybe deserves a bit more recognition than it gets.
hmm. I mean, so one of my favorite musicians is PJ Harvey,
Mm,
and I'm sure she's been given enough recognition for this album, but there was an album that she did in, oh, I don't know the year. I think it's called Her, and it's like a picture of her and it's like her face, and I think she's in like a car or something.
mm,
Anyway, and on that album there's a song called Pocket Knife,
mm,
and Pocket kind of like, because that whole album was kind of, oh, it was quite, like all her albums, really different. But then you got to Pocket Knife, and Pocket Knife was almost just like a real folky song, which was perfect for the song because the song's about basically what we'll be talking about on Mother's Day, in a sense, like sort of
yeah.
speaking to the idea that women need to be married and to settle down, and they need to
Mm,
be polite and, just do all those things, like fit in that box again. And Pocket Knife to me is about a woman questioning all of that and kind of going, no, I don't want to give up my roughness or my edginess or my bluntness or my outspokenness to be wed and to be sort of owned, or whatever that is. And the pocket knife symbolizes her independence, and I suppose maybe her like sharpness as well, and maybe her ability to sort of use that, like have that strength, not aggression, but like have that strength to defend
mm.
herself. And I think just those words stuck with me so much. And people that I speak to, like there's some people that have heard of it, but as far as most of PJ's Harvey songs go, like a lot of people know that there's like a picture of her crossing a road. The
Is it like
stories,
stories from the sea? Or
yeah, that
yeah,
one. And I think
yeah, yeah.
that, like there's a couple songs on there that to me sounded a bit more poppy, but they got really popular. And then when I hear like Pocket Knife, I was like, oh man, like that's a song that was just so inspiring to me, and probably lots of females, I'm sure. Just the power of those words and the simplicity of the song made those words stand out even further. So
Yeah.
yeah, love, love, love that song.
Fantastic choice. I've got what I've started doing, Beth, is I've made up 6 Spotify playlists. So I'm closing in on, what am I on now? 41, 42 episodes. So I've got
Mhm.
40 odd track ones in one playlist, all the
Okay.
track twos that everybody's picked over the last sort of year. So I'll link them in the description as well. But track 6 is by far my favourite playlist. But it's all this like, really out there sort of stuff that I'd not heard before, it came up on the mixtape. And yeah, like I said, I specifically put that question in there to introduce me and other people to new stuff. In forward, Beth, I know we talked about the gig in June, but what are your sort of future plans now for the rest of the year? You talked about the EP and possibility of recording that. Is that going to be happening this year, do you think?
I don't think we'll finish it, but it's making its way. We've got about, well, it depends if you look at some of them as finished or not. But we've got 4 to 5 songs already there, and the problem with me is I keep writing more songs and then deciding that I want to record those. So it's kind of like, where do you cut it off? But I would love to say that EP would be finished maybe by the end of the year, maybe by the end of next year. As far as this year goes, I don't really have anything planned after June, but in June we are doing a pretty big road trip north. My husband, my daughter and I, we're going to jump in the bus and we head north towards Broome, doing a few stops along the way and playing in just different towns, and then doing it up in Broome and then coming back. We have family up there too, so it's a nice excuse to visit them and everything. Yeah. That's probably going to be the longest time I've kind of like, been gigging on the road kind of a thing. So that's exciting and new, and to try on the road with my daughter, and it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Beth Chia, thanks so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mark.
No problem at all. That was a Mixtape podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to jump up to the top of the page and smash that follow button, and you'll be notified every time there's a new episode. Or follow me on Instagram at the Mixtape Perf. Till the next time.